Hey Kizzle, David, check this out. This right here is my pomegranate seltzer. Oh nice, it's delicious. Oh man, the perfect addition to a wonderful sandwich. Definitely give it a try. This is something everybody should enjoy. Alrighty, gonna make some barbecue. Alright. So you'll know, whenever you're starting charcoal briquettes in one of these chimney starters, number one, get it up off of the ground. You need to get air underneath it, more than just these little vents give you, okay? You can stuff it with paper and light it, but I find using propane just to be a little bit cleaner for this purpose. All right? Okay, I live in West Texas. There's a lot of wind usually. Today it's not bad. And sparks, things that are glowing red hot, heated ash, these things can start fires around here, and in this part of the country they start really easy. So here it is. So this takes usually a couple of minutes, just simply heating it with a propane torch. And once that's done, well, you've got lit charcoal. Okay, got a little smoke coming off of it now. Now I do have a video on how to properly set up and run a offset smoker, just like this one. In fact, it was this smoker, the video was. And so if you're not sure about how to use one of these things, watch that, and it's going to give you all of the detailed information of everything that I'm going to be doing on this. Today I'm going to be focused more on the recipe, more on what we do with the meat, and less on what we do with the fire, even though I'll be doing the fire the way I normally do. So what I do, at the beginning, I like to use charcoal for my heat source, okay? It's stable. It always provides an even amount of heat. And if you want more or less, it just depends on how many extra charcoal briquettes you add to the firebox, okay? That's all there is to it. Now, and that making it quite easy, okay? Charcoal is just wood that's been charred, okay? Don't want this out here next to it. That wouldn't be very safe, but it's a great way, as you can see, to light up your chimney. Now, the beauty of using one of these little devices, it concentrates all of the charcoal in one place so that as the heat from the burning coals from the bottom rises, it starts lighting on fire all the rest of the charcoal, pulling more air up through the bottom as the heat rises, the smoke comes out the top, and it just increases until it's up to full steam. Pretty soon the smoke is going to die off, it's going to ash over a little bit on top, and that's when it is time to put it in there, is when I start seeing ashing on top. All right, the mess down below, well, a hose will fix that problem. Let that there. All right, yeah. Well, hello. Welcome to my kitchen. Hey, I'm Stuart. I do a little cooking show called Texas Cooking Today, where I over-explain everything I do. Okay, so enjoy every moment of it. Today I've had a really strong urge, folks. Something I've been wanting to eat for a while. I would love to have a pulled pork sandwich. nice soft bun, maybe something special. And delicious smoked pulled pork. Coming apart tender, just pulling apart. That's what pulled pork means. It means the meat gets pulled apart, hence pulled pork, okay? So, I know it's kind of a weird name, but that's what it is, and that's what we're gonna make. Today it's about taking a pork shoulder, I guess, and smoking it. So that's what I guess I need to do. I need to get some pork shoulder and get a fire started so I can make a sandwich. Oh, well, maybe I should buy a farm and just grow a nice field of wheat for the buns. Hey, that'd be cool, huh? I think it's a bit over the top. I think having to, or going through the trouble to smoke your own meat and then create this wonderful, delicious thing, well, I think that's going to be enough. So let's get some meat out here. I'll pull some spices out. We'll discuss how to make a rub, what to use in a rub, and what a rub does for you, and also how to make a mop sauce and how to integrate those two things together, your rub and your mop sauce, okay? So this will be a really cool, really cool recipe for you. Now, before I get on with it, please click the like button, the subscribe button, and also drop a comment down below. Hey, that like button helps us more than you can imagine. It says somebody interacted with the video. Please click that. Also, if you haven't subscribed, hey, I've got a lot of good recipes, a lot of great videos. So please check out what I have and definitely subscribe. Hey, just do it now. Click the little button, subscribe, and it'll be over with, right? Meat. Okay, so what I have here, this little darling, this is a 9.5 pound pork shoulder, and this is what they call a Boston butt cut, and it's just a big chunk of the front shoulder of the pig. The back we make ham out of. And so this wonderful little roast, hey, they have enough fat in them. Fat equals flavor, okay? And the next thing is it's a good sized chunk of meat, so you get a lot of meat there. When I'm buying one of these, I always look for this right here, that thick layer of fat right there from the outer skin. This is a part that can go up in the smoker, and then it just renders that fat down into the meat and allows the smoke to do its thing, and you get two wonderful creations right there. Okay, I want to put this in the sink, cut it open, and we'll get on with seasoning it. I want something to put it on. Something to put it on. Okay, here we go. Those gloves make for an easy cleanup after you handle meat. It just makes the job so much easier. There we go. That's a big old slab of meat right there. Okay, this would be the equivalent in beef, the equivalent to what's called chuck. This would be a chuck roast on the pig, okay? Same exact cut. So now it gives you some idea of the number of muscles, the amount of fat running through it, that kind of thing, right? Because it's quite similar, except it's a totally different animal. But it's the same place on the animal. All right, so that's enough of that. When we season one of these, there's a variety of different little goodies we can use. I've got a few of them out, not all. Okay, I've got a variety of little goodies out here. I got some cumin, coriander, paprika, salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and black pepper. Any or all of these in whatever proportion that you would like. This is kind of where you get to start creating your own recipes for something. I'm going to say, take any of these that sound good to you and sprinkle them generously over the meat. You don't have to just completely cover it, but get enough on there that you know it's there. Okay, not a light sprinkling. Remember, there's a lot of meat here. You got 9 pounds of meat. A little seasoning on the outside ain't going to hurt it, but the whole idea here is creating that crust, that rind on the outside of the meat that's going to A, give it a little flavor, and B, give it a whole lot of beautiful texture on the outside, and then that in and of itself is just delicious. So these right here, that's what we want to use. I'm going to be sprinkling some of this over here. Now, so you'll know, coriander, where did that come from? Coriander naturally pairs with pork. So if you're doing a dry rub for meat and you're doing pork, coriander is a good go-to. Cumin can be used also, very southwestern flavor. Paprika is often used as a rub for meat, so just go ahead and get it in there. Do you need smoked paprika? Of course not. We're smoking the meat. You don't need anything smoked here. Some salt, coarse grained sea salt. Garlic powder and onion powder are always good for this. And also black pepper just works great on something like this. So feel free to use them as you wish, and I'm going to be using them all. Some people like to put the spices that they want into a bowl, mix them together, and then rub that over the meat. Guess what I'm going to do today? I'm going to do something just like that. We'll look at that next. I would like to mention this little guy here. It's a barbecue mop. This will come in handy later, but if you don't have one of these and you want to make a really nice one like this, that's what I do, is I make my own. I have a video on how to make a barbecue mop. Very cool thing. And we're going to start with some salt here. I'm going to want probably about 3 teaspoons, roughly. I don't have to measure any of this because it's not quite like baking. Okay, there's what, a teaspoon? How about another? Let's get more. Let's go to a tablespoon, right? Okay, so we've got plenty of paprika going on there. And I want to use coriander, but I know that coriander can be pretty robust, so I only want that much right there. I also know cumin can overtake the flavors of almost anything. So boom, we're going to keep it to a couple of teaspoons. Onion powder. This has got these doggone shaker lids. There we go. Shaker lid going. Right there. About a tablespoon. And that's on the onion powder. And garlic powder. Same problem with that silly little shaker top. About a tablespoon of garlic powder. And then on my black pepper, I'm just going to grind in roughly a tablespoon. Maybe a tablespoon and a half, or even 2. I love black pepper, so it can work well on the crust of your meat. It's one of the items that you use to crust, what am I trying to say here? Pepperoni. Not pepperoni. Pastrami. Where we take a broach like this that we have pickled. Or cured, you could say. We've corned it. After we corn the meat, then we crust it with a whole lot of this. And then we smoke it. Oh, delicious. Now I'm just going to gently work these together. If you wish to use a whisk, feel free to do that. As you can see there, we got wonderful rub. And looky there, it's got that magical color of those rubs that you see in bottles, right? Yeah. Now you know how to make it. You don't have to rely on those little bottles. Okay, now let's get it on the meat and then get our fire ready. Okay, gonna get my rub on my meat. Gonna get it out on that grill. Oh yeah. So here's what I want to do. I want to get the rub on the parts of the meat that'll be the hardest to do. So I think this edge will be the hardest because that one kind of doesn't want to hold it up straight. We'll get it first. Simply take some of the rub in your hand. Raise your meat. Sprinkle that rub over the top of it. Rub it in. That's why we call it a rub. It gets rubbed, okay? So looky there. Now we have that edge, that end, spiced up. If some of your rubs gets down on the board you're doing this on, or in the pan that you're doing it in, or whatever, like I am here, don't worry, just leave it there. The meat will pick it up in a minute. Okay. There we go. Isn't that nice looking? It's got beautiful color to it. And a great flavor, man. These are the flavors I use so much in this kitchen, mostly because they make such good taste, such a good deliciousness. And they're very southwesterny. They're just part of the flavors we use in Texas, you know? So at this point, we can simply take our rub spices and finish up this little thing. That which is on the edges of the pan, I'll just mop up with the meat like so. Isn't that handy? Take this. There we are. Now, there. It can be a little challenging when you're handling a piece of meat this large, okay? It kind of wants to do its own thing. Once you get up around 8 to 12 pounds on your meat cuts, they sort of want to do their own stuff. So don't fight them too much. Okay, right there's our meat. I'm going to start it on that grill with the fat side up on it. So the side you're seeing right here. Now, once again, it's about the whole cleanup. I don't have to wash my hands because I decided to use gloves this time. I washed my hands to begin with before I started all of this, but at this point, I would rather be able to move on to the next stage quickly. All right, let's go and check the fire and see if it's ready for this beastie. Whew. When it comes time to handle one of these, and please pardon the noise in the background, we just had our, as you can hear it, our trash pickup. We have dumpsters, okay, and they make a bit of noise when they pick them up, so that just happens. All right, when doing one of these, make sure you wear gloves because this gets hot as you pour it, and you don't want to burn yourself, so do it the right way. Alrighty. Now, I need to put some more charcoal on top of this, kind of get it arranged a little bit. I like to use some extra large barbecue tongs that I bought for myself. They're not specifically for barbecuing, they're just tongs. And that way I can get things arranged real nice and keep my pile of charcoal well organized so that it cooks a little better for me. Okay? There we go. So we got that fire burning. Okay. And down in here, I've got a couple of little metal pins. This is just a little hot water. And the whole idea there is I want to create steam to go with my smoke, to keep it moist in here. Keeps the meat moisture. And that's that, folks. We got to wait for this to come to the right temperature. Make sure the chimney's full open. This needs to be at 230 degrees, and it needs to be stable, not going up and down a lot. All right, now, as you can see, got a lot of smoke coming out. I want about half that much smoke when I'm normally smoking. I'm heating it now. And so there's going to be a little more smoke each time that you first add a little charcoal. That stuff smokes a lot. We want that smoke to be wispy and slightly bluish in color. If it's not slightly bluish in color, that means it's too hot. Okay, and hot smoke, hot conditions, they don't make for good smoking. We want that smoke layer to penetrate deep in the meat. And if the temperature's too high, it'll cook the meat and it'll stop that from happening. Okay, I'm going to make a mop sauce now. So if you are new to smoking meat or barbecuing or making little treats like this, we do what's called a mop sauce. And it's just something that we make, that we use a mop like this to put the sauce over the meat. Now, it's not really a sauce the way you think of sauces. We think of sauces like, you know, barbecue sauce, right? Yeah, well, that's not what this is. This is something that helps us to protect the meat. It keeps the meat moist, okay? Keeps the juices inside. It also keeps the rind from becoming too hard. Why? Because we're introducing a strong acid to it. This acid will do a few other things for us also in a way of making it a little easier to get that smoke into the meat, okay? Some barbecue mop sauce is generally the spices that you used for your rub, in addition to some oil and some vinegar. Now, the type of vinegar you use, is that going to matter a lot? It's going to matter a little bit, but not a lot. In fact, so small of an amount that it matters that I'm just going to use plain white vinegar. Now, I don't want to use a whole lot, maybe a half a cup, because generally you're going to go 1 part vinegar to 3 or 4 parts oil. Right? Now, that's a lot of oil, isn't it? If I did a cup of vinegar, that'd be a quart of oil. I don't need that much mop sauce. All right? I need enough mop sauce to do this. So I put in maybe a half a cup of white vinegar and about a cup and a half of some oil. Any oil will do. It's a cooking oil. All right, this time olive oil. I like olive oil to do this with. It makes a really nice rind on the meat. You can use peanut oil, vegetable oil, any kind of oil that you want to use oil, so just break it out. I am not going to use all of these spices that I originally used on my meat. I don't need salt in the mop sauce. But pepper's a nice thing to have in your mop sauce. Okay? Sometimes I'll put paprika in it. As a general rule, I do not put onion powder, garlic powder, coriander, cumin, things like that in it because, well, it's just the way I do it. You can put them in there if you want. You can use any of the spices that you have used in your rub for your barbecue mop sauce. So what do I have to do here? I simply have to boil this 15 minutes at the most. Now you might think, wow, it takes a lot of grinding, but look, this thing was full when I started. Look how much pepper I've used. If you ever want a really good grinder, this little guy here I've been using for over 15 years now. In fact, I think it's coming up close to 20 years. This little guy is made by William Bounds. They don't give you a lot of choices in grinders, but what they make is excellent. They're incredible grinders. Give them a try if you've never done so, and you will be very, very pleased at the results. Oh, sorry about that. That little jar was clicking on my ring. I'm going to put in about a tablespoon in that. I can always add more later. You can't take it out once it's in there, though. All right. Bring this up to a boil. I'm going to give this a quick stir. Okay, take a look inside of this and see what it looks like. Okay, right there you can see that mop sauce. Beautiful, isn't it? So as I said, this is going to boil. Just simmer it for about 10 to 15 minutes, and you're going to get a strong aroma of that vinegar in the air, folks. So be prepared for that. It'll be a sharp smell. Okay, looky there. That's boiling real nice. Now I'm going to reduce this temperature just so we can keep it simmering. It doesn't need to be a high rolling boil. It's good to stir it occasionally. There's that aroma of the vinegar. So basically what I'm making is an acidified oil that's got spices in it. That's your mop sauce. All right. So that has about another 7 minutes. Just really nice looking. And stir it occasionally so you don't burn your spices onto the bottom or anything. Okay, my temperature is just below 250. I need it a little cooler. I'm closing off some of the air coming into the fire to cool it down. All right. There we go. It takes care of that mess. And having a hose like that ready when you have a fire going, it's always smart. Okay, for smoking, I have a bucket of wood here. This is mesquite wood, and I'm having it soaking in hot water right now. It doesn't have to, but I have found that this provides a smoother, slower, more even release of smoke, and it makes my barbecue a little better. Okie dokie. I've got my temperature right. Now, if you see, there's not a lot of smoke. I'll deal with the smoke here in a minute. The temperature is our starting point, getting it right. So I got 230 degrees in here. It's fairly stable. And my meat is on top and in the middle. Don't put it too close to the fire side because one end of your meat can cook a lot faster. And you're going to have to rotate it frequently if it's close to this side. Don't do that. Put it in the middle or closer to your stack. You'll get a better smoky flavor. Okay, close that. Now, for the smoke part of it. This wood that I have, I'll be putting it right up on the sides of my smoker. And the idea here is the metal on the sides will heat that wood and cause a slow smoke release that'll work really, really well. I'm stirring my coals just a little. Okay, and I'll put some more charcoal in this in about 10 minutes. We're at about 200. Well, the meat now we have on the smoker. So what's the process here? It's going to be about 4 to 5 hours smoking. And then I'm going to put it in a roasting pan, add some water, and put it in the oven to finish by braising. Now, I do this on purpose, and I'll explain why. First of all, the length of time you smoke kind of depends on the wood you're using. Woods that have a light flavor like apple or oak, you can smoke for very, very long periods of time with those before you get a strong smoky flavor. It'll be a light smoky flavor. If you use a wood like hickory or pecan or mesquite, those have a much more robust flavor, so your smoking time is reduced. Mesquite's about the strongest of all of those, and so you got your shortest smoking time with mesquite and then it starts getting kind of really robust flavored. Okay, so learn to judge that. I like 4 to 5 hours on a piece of meat like this, and then I braise it. Now the beauty of braising, normally when we're finished with our smoking, we would, if we're going to cook everything on the smoker, we'll wrap it in foil, leave it on the smoker, but bring the temperature up so that we can start braising the meat in its own juices because it's wrapped in foil. It's not getting any smoke at that point, so the smoke doesn't matter. That's the reason I just go ahead and put it in a roasting pan and put it in the oven with some water, because then I'm braising without having to maintain a fire or the temperature of that fire. I just set the oven temperature, put it in there, and go on and do my business. That's going to make your life a lot easier, all right? So that's our timeline. We're going to smoke it and we're going to braise it. It'll be finished braising when the shoulder blade inside of that piece of meat slips out easily. It'll just slide right out of the meat clean. That's when it has cooked enough. At that point, the meat will gently pull apart, and that's when we get our pulled pork. It's delicious. Okay, now you know the timeline and how it works. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about. See how much lighter the smoke is? It's kind of light, it's wispy, it's bluish in color, okay? That is the condition we're looking for. When you get smoke like that, you're producing the best smoke that you can smoke with, okay? That is the exact condition I want, that right there, for as long as I can hold it. Keep that temperature below 250. Keep that condition on your smoke, and you're gonna have good barbecue. All right, our first hour of smoking is complete. I have my beautiful roast here. What I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna just flip it over. Look at that. Oh, there we go. And that's because I want this side on the bottom still, but I'm gonna give it its mop sauce first. So I'm just going to dip my mop down in here, drag it across the top of this. This is the reason we use a mop, folks, because look how fast it spreads all of that on there. Okay, it just speeds things up to use a mop. So use a mop. Okay. There we go. Now, get a little mop sauce on the back side here. There we go. And I kind of want that to just run down a little bit. Remember, I've got pans down in here. They have water in them. They're going to be just fine. Okay. Yeah. See what I mean? The handiness of that mop. Look how I can do those sides. All right. Now, we got the oil on there. It's kind of acidic, so it's going to help cut through any rind that's building up. Right there's my bone. And later on, that'll be sticking out a little bit, and I can just pull on it and get it out of there. Okay. Alrighty, look at that. Oh, it's got a long ways before it's cooked. Quite soft. So, thing of it is, this has had 5 hours of smoke. All right, the smoke just now kind of slowed down enough. This would have been when I come out to fix it and redo it. Oops, one thing I'm forgetting. Let's use a little of this, the mop sauce that's left, to coat the bottom of my roasting pan so that, well, nothing sticks. There we go. There we are. Alrighty. So now, this goes in the oven. Let me get this centered somehow. This goes in the oven at 325 degrees, and you could braise this anywhere from 250 degrees to 325 degrees. Any of those temperatures are going to work fine for braising this, but this is a big cut and I want to get it done, so I'm setting mine at 325. I'm going to put a cover on this after I put a quart or two of water in here, and we're just going to let it cook. All right, now, a little water over this. The whole idea is I want water in the pan. It doesn't have to be covered in water. Okay, braising is cooking with liquid, all right? And that's what we're doing. Now, I've got maybe an inch of water in the bottom. I'll put a little more. The whole idea here is it allows the cook to occur without losing moisture. It keeps the meat really moist, develops incredible flavors. There we go. Looks like about a cup left. So that would be about 7 cups of water that I added to this. It might be different for you because your meat might be a different size, your pan might be a different size, so do it in that way. I've got the water right up to here, and as you can see the meat's up to here, so just about 1.5 inches of water in the bottom. Cover it. Put it in the oven. Now here's the thing, I'm going to check this about every hour. After the first 2 hours of cooking, I'll come in and check it about once an hour, and we'll cook it until when? Until that bone slips out easy, right? All right. All right, now in case you're curious, you can use one of those electric roasters, like a turkey roaster. Works great for this. Outside of that, just a good recipe. Enjoy it. So now I'm just going to go find other stuff to do as this cooks, and maybe later today I get to have a sandwich. Okay, let's get this out of the oven and see what we got here. All right. This has officially been right about 4 hours of braising. We're going to see if we can get a loose bone down in here. There we go. Looky there. The bone is slipping out right out of that meat. So what I'm going to do is this meat right here, it's still attached just a little bit. It's not by much. I'm going to put this on the cutting board and use this piece. Here's that little piece that we had. There it is. Our bone has come out nice and clean. Isn't that pretty? That's the way that's supposed to work, folks. Now, pulled pork. What is pulled pork? Like I said before, you pull it apart. You can just use a fork. Look at there. It's just coming apart. Look at that. Shredding right in place. And you remember we talked about that red band? You can see it right there on that pork, right around the outer edge there. All on it. So beautiful, beautiful outcome on this. Exactly what we're looking for. That's that pork. There's what we've shredded. Time for sandwich making. I decided what did I want to do for a sandwich, and that was maybe something with a little barbecue sauce. I love this stuff. It doesn't take a whole lot. We go, one genuine pulled pork sandwich. I think I want just a little bit of onion on mine. Oh, look at that. Maybe some pickles. Oh, what a delight, huh? Just downright delicious looking right there. Okay, now all I need is some chips. Always need a few really good chips for a nice sandwich. And there it is, folks. There's how you do a pulled pork sandwich. There we go. Let's get a nice close-up of that. Look at that. That's just delicious looking, isn't it? I guarantee you, guaranteed it is top of the line delicious. You're gonna love this one. Now, I had a couple of my viewers, Kizzle and David. Both of these folks asked me to, enjoy the product, or at least show me enjoying this wonderful product. So you'll know this has nothing to do with pulled pork, but this is one of my seltzers, and this is what I'm planning on having with my pulled pork. Delicious stuff. So I'll let that head fall just a little bit. I'll finish filling it, and then we'll be drinking. You know what? Sometimes you have to go through a little bit of extra effort, but it is well rewarded. What else can I use this stuff for? Oh gosh, think about it. Pulled pork tacos, pulled pork tamales, pulled pork enchiladas. Oh goodness. The list just goes on and on and on, all right? Delicious stuff can be enjoyed. Folks, that was so good. Definitely try this one. And like I asked before, please subscribe, click a thumbs up on it. That always helps a lot. Drop some comments down below. Tell me what you think. What would you use your pulled pork for? Thank you for watching. You have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Oh, that's good.